Make Market Wrap part of your social network and never miss a thing.
Welcome back, everyone, to Market Wrap. I'm Mo Ansari, president of Compact Asset Management. Today, we are going to get an opinion from the left and the right on the President's State of the Union address. Now, let's go to our guest line and go directly to Washington. I talked to U.S. Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez. Congresswoman Sanchez represents the 47th Congressional District. She is currently serving the 7th term in the House of Representatives. Congresswoman Sanchez is the ranking woman of the Armed Services Committee and sits on the Oversight and Investigations, Strategic Forces, and Military Personnel Subcommittee. Congresswoman Sanchez, welcome to Market Wrap.
Thank you, Mo. Always nice to be with y'all.
Well, Congresswoman, let's start with yesterday, the State of the Union speech by the President. Do you think he did a good job, first of all?
I think he did a good job, Mo. I think he began by reminding people everything that he inherited the minute he walked into the office, all the trillions that we were already in deficit and in debt. And then he took responsibility for the $1 trillion that he spent on the Recovery Act. Then he talked a little bit where it was spent and why it was spent, and I think that's important. And then he went on to say, but like every other family, we got to start figuring out what's excess and where we can cut and where we can nip and tuck, and he wants to do that. And I think that was very important to let people know that he understands that that's a process that needs to happen.
Congresswoman, let's talk a little bit about the last year. For the last year, I think a lot of people are sort of disappointed. Do you think the President spent too much time on health care and not enough time on reforming the economy, reforming Wall Street, and sort of fixing some of the problems that put the economy on its back?
Well, he told Americans, and he said he wanted to work on health care, and because, 17%, 18%, 19% of the U.S. economy is based in health care, he thought it was an important enough issue that if we could actually, over the long term, cut the cost and make Americans healthier, that would actually make them more productive and for our economy in the long run. He really feels it's an economic issue with respect to health care, even more than a moral issue.
I talk to people every day. As you know, I'm on the broadcast 6 days a week, and I talk to people all over the West. They're frustrated because what they see is that billions upon billions of hundreds of billions were given to these bankers. These bankers were the ones who created these problems in the economy in the first place. Now they're giving themselves a $125 billion bonus, and they're saying, look, what have we done to stop these banks from doing the same thing all over again?
Well, look at Mo. You're in the financial industry. You know that we couldn't have the banks collapse. Now, with the TARP deal, the right one to put forward, was it the right proposal? I didn't think so. I voted against it twice, to tell you the truth. And one of the biggest reasons was I saw a real inconsistency with these banks taking risks and then getting bailed out by ordinary people, by good-working, hard-working Americans who we told them we need to put this money up, and then seeing no compensation and no regulatory reform really in that bill. I just thought it was wrong because I know it's always harder to go back and put those things on after the fact. And in fact, that's what we see now. I mean, they got all the benefit and they didn't really have to do anything to get our money. So people should be frustrated.
As you know, the Supreme Court just passed the law that corporations can go and spend hundreds of millions of billions of dollars if they wanted to on a re-election campaign. Doesn't this take the power from the people and give it back to corporations, or for so the banks? They can spend $1 billion now on a congressional campaign if they want to.
I think this is one of the worst things that could have happened to us. There's so much precedent, so many cases that have gone before the court that said, yes, it's okay to limit the amounts of money, and this Roberts court just totally threw all of that out. Let me just leave this thought with people. Everybody's a shareholder. If you guys have 401ks, if you're in the stock market, you're a shareholder. How many annual shareholder meetings has anybody gone to? I mean, I haven't gone to any. We just send our proxy in. That means the same guys decide over and over how much they're going to pay, who's going to be on their boards, and how much of the money in there, instead of giving it in dividends, they're going to send out to try to get rid of politicians who don't do what they want done. And I think it's a very scary time for us when these very wealthy, very few people are going to control the political system.
Congresswoman Sanchez, I want to thank you for taking the time out and sharing your thoughts with us and giving us some ideas how we can make some of these changes.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And now let's go directly back to Washington again and talk to Republican Representative Dana Rohrabacher. He is the Republican congressman representing California's 46th congressional district. Congressman Rohrabacher is one of the senior members of the House of Representatives, serving his 9th term in Washington. He's a senior member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He's also the ranking Republican of the Subcommittee on International Organizations, Human Rights, and Oversight. Congressman Rohrabacher, welcome to Market Wrap.
Well, thank you very much.
Last night we heard the speech. You were on the floor. What were your impressions? Did you like the speech?
I didn't like the speech either in terms of substance or tone. The tone on the speech was preachy and arrogant, and certainly he wasn't reaching out to try to work with people who disagreed with him. He was trying to lecture them instead.
I think they spent the last year trying to fix health care or do something to health care. Do you believe that's dead at this point?
I think that his particular health care proposal, considering that it was negotiated behind closed doors, which is totally contradictory that he told us what would happen, and it contained all kinds of backroom deals, which people are aware of now, exempting certain states from certain obligations and certain groups of people in order to get votes. I think that the enormous cost became very apparent, and so all in all, I think that proposal is dead. Now, I wouldn't say reforming our healthcare system is dead. If we can get him to start cooperating with Republicans and let us in on the discussions, he might not come up with such a radical, unworkable proposal. So maybe we'll be able to work on that together, but I'm not holding my breath. This guy's record of working with us is zero.
But he did come out and say, look, if you have a proposal that can do this, 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 and this, bring it to me.
We have proposals. I mean, the Paul Ryan bill is something I've co-sponsored. It answers all of the questions and all of the challenges without having to have this draconian cuts in Medicare and all of these other things that the president's plan had.
Congressman, I talk to people every day. They call me up and they say, Mo, yes, health care needs to be fixed or whatever, but I don't have a job. That's what I'm more worried about. I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about where the economy is headed. My wages are going down. My quality of life is going down. What I am looking at and what people are talking about is, look, we had these banks that loaned out all this money, that put the gun to the economy's head and said, look, give us all this money or the economy goes down. The government said, okay, here's, $787 billion, which is who knows how much more it might end up being. They got saved. Now they're writing themselves a check of $125 billion in bonuses, and people are saying, wait a minute. We gave them the money, they got saved, and I still don't have a job.
I'm equally upset, but I'm perhaps more frustrated because I'm sitting here watching this close up. Last night you had the President of the United States blaming his predecessor on everything, even though what he has done has made things worse. And
how would you say that he's made things worse?
For example, the whole issue that you're bringing up, the banks. I mean, this is the same president that transferred out of our pockets hundreds of billions of dollars, gave it to these Wall Street wheeler dealers as well as the big bankers. He was the instrument that provided all of this rip-off of the American taxpayers that went to the bankers. I happen to have voted against all of those bailouts, but they were his bailouts, and here he is posturing us as if I'm a friend of the bankers. Give me a break.
Congressman, what I'm concerned about is I don't know when you last read the proxy statement that you got or that I get. Very few people read that. It's just the same people who control large sums of money. They make these decisions. And again,
you are making a fantastic point. And let me just tell you that I am the author of a bill, and I am working right now with Congressman Rangel, and I hope it's going to be in any new tax bill that we put up, that would provide that any corporation that gives a broad distribution of stock to its employees, the employees will not have to pay income tax on that stock, and if they keep it for 10 years, they don't have to pay capital gains tax.
Congressman, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule today and sharing your thoughts with all the listeners here in Southern California and on the west coast of the United States. Thank you again for being with us today.
All right. Thank you.